Oikeutta. Va. Äijässä. 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 Anajässä. Almost. Oikeutta. Oikeutta. Are you full? Että onnea. Niin katteena. Niin katteena. Is that on? Where? Okay. So today, because like Bo's working towards his class 7, but it'll be a good review to you. A couple of things I want to show today about basic vowels and consonants. Okay. Okay. So in Grovan and Aani, okay.
This the regular one, or? Yeah, right here on this desk, I got the regular ones.
Like
That one?
for this one. That's okay.
15.
So that's alright, so in Anak, we gotta go back, and then the first thing you gotta remember is what is a vowel and what is a consonant, right? And so in Grovan we have 8 main vowel sounds, okay? And we have 12 consonants in Anak. And our vowels, there's a couple things you need to know about vowels. And what do you think the main thing you need to know about vowels is?
Short and long vowels?
Short and long vowels. Now when we think about short and long vowels in English, we think about like this. Right? We learn that, okay? In Grovan, we're not even thinking about that. It has nothing to do with it, okay? In Anak, I should say. In Anakit, we have a sound, we have a vowel sound for almost every one of them, okay? And there are, and they say 8 vowels, but they're kind of a short sound and a long. But when we talk about long and short vowels, what we're talking about is how many times we write them, okay? So a short vowel is written once, and a long vowel is written twice or 3 times. So when we look at that vowel and we talk about a vowel, the first one is the letter A, okay? As a short vowel, we say what? Okay. Then when we write it long, we write it twice or 3 times. Okay? So these ones are long here. Okay? And this is a short. Okay? So we have okay? So using that letter, the letter A, it's always never changes. Okay? Now, what's another thing that's kind of important? And I don't always write it, but sometimes I'll write it, sometimes I don't.
Stress marks?
Stress marks, okay? Stress marks, we call it porosity, this is linguistic, but stress marks. And what that's telling us is to say it normal, to say it loud, or to have a falling pitch. So we take the letter A here, in a short vowel, and I put it here, that's saying, say it short, and say it loud. So instead of we're saying okay? Same thing here. Okay? So now I'm saying it's a long vowel, so now I'm saying okay? And then finally, I can put it like this. And say which is yes in Grovan too, by the way. But see how we say it as opposed to or excuse me, okay? Now, there's another one too, not with the short, but with the long. we also have what we call a falling sound. Okay? And this is very common. Okay? So this is like, instead of see how it falls off? For example, a word that we might use in Grovant with that same letter is this word right here. Yeah. Bida. To dance, right? It means just to dance. Okay? So, in review, we have short vowels. These again are short. Okay? And we have long vowels. Short are written once. Long are written twice or 3 times. We can have stress marks above all of them saying we say it loud no matter what the length is. Okay? Or we can have the falling sound. Everybody with me on that? Questions? Anyone? Anyone? Okay? Alright? So, that's an example. Okay? So, another one we have is the letter E. And we just say A. Please. A. Now, when it goes too long, in a sense, it goes to what we call a diphthong. A diphthong is 2 vowel sounds together that make one sound, is the way I understand it. I think that's what they call a diphthong. So then it goes to here, or it goes to here. Okay? So now I'm saying eh. Now what am I saying here? A. Now what am I saying? A. You know, like our slang. A. You see what I mean? That's what we're saying. Okay? So that's, some of them will go to diphthongs, okay? Now, so we say a, a. Okay? Means. Okay. And then, now with the letter I, this has its own special rules. The I's are the ones probably the most, that get people to confuse the most, because it depends on what precedes it. But when there's, okay, so when it's just normal like this, one I says what? I. Okay? But when we go to a long vowel and we write it in a long vowel, the sound changes, right? So what does it say now? E. What's this one say? E. You see what I mean? And that means snow. Okay? That's how you say snow. E. Okay? So we have a, E. Okay, now, when the S, when the I is after an S, a consonant S or a consonant C, which says what? S, s. Now I'm going to say sit or sit. Okay? Remember, you always got to remember that. Now, one other thing too you'll see is sometimes, like with a negative word, you'll have a CH here. And when that H is there in a glottal stop, it still keeps that same sound, okay? Just something to know about it, alright? So this is like no. How do we say no? Tse. Yeah. Tse. Okay? Alright. So we're saying sit, we're saying sit, and tse. Now we put it here with the long I's again. So now how would we say it, for example? Se. Se. Okay? And using a C, then we would say se or se. And it could be like this too. A glottal stop. Se. You see what I mean? Or now saying no. Se. You see what I mean? Okay? So those are those ones right there. Okay, I'm gonna leave them up there. We'll leave them up there. Okay? Then, O. Okay? And O is very rare in Ahani by itself. We just say what? O. O. Just a long O in English. O. Okay? Then when you start writing them long, because remember we're going back, these are all short vowels, and if we write it twice or 3 times, it becomes long. Okay? Now we're going to say a diphthong again. We're saying O, O, O. Okay? And here we would say O. Okay? Any questions? This is pretty remedial for you guys. I know you guys know this, but it's just going back to making sure that we know this properly, okay? Alright. Okay, so we have, notice they're similar to the same vowels we use in English, but they have different sounds. That's the thing you gotta remember, okay? You always gotta, because it's, when we start to read, one of the things that we do is that we often want to use our English, and it's different, okay? Okay, finally this one right here. Now this one is the closest that we have to like an English short, you know, like a short U and a long U, kind of like, you know, it's kind of like that, but it's different sounds. So this one is when it's written once. When it's short, it's Neat. But then when we write it long, the sound changes a little bit. What does it say now? Ooh. Now we're saying ooh. Okay. Like scoop or something like that in English, you know? Okay. So we have a, e, s. Okay. And let's make these S's. See, what did I do there? See, I can make an S too. Let's make them an S now. As opposed to s with the C, right? O, just O. O, and that means dirt, by the way. O means dirt. So O means dirt, E means snow, and A means yes. See what I mean? So you learn 3 words within the alphabet. Okay. All right. Oh, right here. Oh, that means crow too. Okay. So now, so far these have been the same ones, right? Okay. Now there's one other one, a special symbol that we use in Grovon called an open O. Sometimes we'll say a backwards C, whatever. It's called an open O. And when it's similar to this one, where you had and oo. What's this one say? Up. But if we write it 2 times, what do we say now? Aw. And if we write it 3 times, what are we saying? Aw. Again, the sound changes from the short to the long. And aw. And oo. O and o. You see? And and e. And a. And okay? Now, we have a couple more though. We have a couple diphthongs that are very rare. Okay? And this one is with an open O and an I. Okay? And usually I don't, every once in a while it's written here. In fact, I put it the wrong place. It's a long vowel, so I need to put it here. It's a long vowel, and every once in a while it'll be like that. Okay? This says this right here. What is this? I. Okay? So what am I saying here? I. Follow me on that? I. Okay? And this one, I've never seen it written long 3 times. Now that one says I. Say it. I. In a word like when we say frog. Guy. This is very rare. Okay? And so those are our main vowels. Okay? Those are the main ones. So we had, again, the review, we had a, e, s, and then with the C we would say s, okay, and then we had O and O, okay, so this one is O, then we had I always think, here's what I always mind, think of a monkey. That's what I think of. What's this one say? Ooh. Okay. I. too. I, got, here, I. It's almost silent. Just like the I is on that one too. I. See what I mean? And again, this doesn't exactly say this, and this doesn't exactly say this. You see how I mean? They blend together and make their own vowel sounds, hence we call it a diphthong, okay? All right? So those are our vowels. Any questions on our vowels? There's a lot, but it's simple. You see what I mean? So the main thing that let's review back on what we're talking about. With vowels, you have what and what? Short and long. You can also have, what do we call that? Stress marks. Okay? And the stress marks, again, going back to that, they could be on top of every one of them. And that's saying short and loud, medium and loud, long and loud. So I would say a, but then we can also have, with only the longs, we can have a falling sound. You see what I mean like that? So it's E. You see what I mean? O. You see what I mean? Okay? That's how that works. Okay? Those are our vowels. And it's important because, I mean, you're working towards that. You need to know that and be able to explain that and be able to teach that. Because that, I mean, that's very fundamental. Okay? Now, another thing, then we talked about our vowels. Okay? Then we talk about our consonants. Okay? And so, there's 12 of them roughly. There's different consonant blends too. Okay? But the B is exactly as English. What do we say? Well, okay? All right? The C is different, isn't it? What's it like? So how would we equate that to English? What sound does that make if we made it in English? TS. So it's a TS sound in English, right? Okay, it's not. So, okay? Another one is the C with the caret on top. Now this is a male speaking symbol only. Only men say this, okay? And it's a ch or a j or a j even, depending on the word, okay? So it can kind of be a ch, like in church, like a ch sound in English, okay? Like that's a ch, all right? It can be a, I always say it like this too. It can be a j sound also, okay? All right. The next one is the letter H. Exactly the same. So we have b, or j. All right. Okay. Then we have the K. Okay. Now, a thing that you want to remember about letters is there's what we call aspiration. Okay. So aspiration means like we blow our hair out, okay? And so, excuse me, in grow on, usually when the K is in front, think about, say Kyle. So does it have a K? Or does it, what sound does it sound similar to?
It's like a G almost.
Yeah, almost a G. It's kind of in between a K and a G, but when it's in front, okay, it has more of a G sound. You see what I mean? Starts like a G, kind of ends like a K, okay? But now, in a woman's dialect, say he's looking around in a woman's dialect.
Knocking the hearts.
Knocking the hearts. What's sa? Knocking the hearts. Hear it now? It's aspirated. See that? So when it's final, when it's a final on the end of a word, it's a, okay? Okay? And it depends on the vowel combinations too, okay? Most of the time, if it's like for example, if it's like after open O, it's going to be a k, okay? But if it's after an I or an E, it's E. See what I mean? So it kind of got to be aware of the vowels, okay? but on the end primarily it's a K sound. So it starts, I always say starts like a G, ends like a K. Okay? So we have ba, s, j, j, ga, or okay? It can be a or a all right? All right. Next one is an N. And the N is exactly the same as English. Okay? All right? You with me on that? Okay. And then we have an S. An S is exactly like English. S. Okay? So we have B, S, J, J. Either a G or a K if it's on the end of a word. Okay? S. Okay? Then we have a T. A T is very similar to the K because it can be aspirated or it cannot be aspirated. Okay? So if I said this word right here, what does that say? Okay, let's make it, let's put the tbrockie on there. Diada. Diada. See what I mean? Now it's aspirated. Diada. What does that T sound like there? A D. So when it's in the front of the syllable, you see what I mean? It has more of a D sound. Da. Da. Okay? But now, let's say this one. What's that say? Bit. Banana. Banana. That means he's big. Banana. No, here now, it's what do we call that? It's aspirated. Banana. Okay? So when you think about aspiration, it means like you're blowing spit out, I guess. You know what I mean? So, banana. Where here it's ayada. You see what I mean? Ayada. Okay? So the T is very similar. You can say it starts like a what? Like a D. And ends like a T. That's a good way. That's just a way to remind me that if it's in the front, it's more of a D sound. If it's at the end, it's more of a T sound. Okay? And then even when we say that word, see what I mean? We kind of aspirate. Ayada. You see what I mean? Okay? So we have ba, s, j, or j, or k. Okay? S, or k. You see what I mean? You see, I'm using two different vowels in there too. But, okay? And then we have a W. W is exactly the same as English, like in water. Whoa. You with me on that? Okay? Alright. And the Y, again, is the same as English. So we say, yeah. Right? Yeah. I know this is very elementary. Now, Ani also has some special symbols. One of them is the Greek theta. Okay? And what is it called? Theta. So that's how you always remember it. Theta. Okay? So we have ba, s, j, ga, or s, or what? Yeah. Okay? Put our tongue together. And then finally, you'll see it written in the dictionary. It's written like that. It's a question mark with no dot. And I also will use an apostrophe. And the reason I use the apostrophe, just so you know, is because when I first started teaching the language, to get this symbol, you had everything. You type something out, you had to go into symbols, And, you know, until I got a keyboard, you know what I mean? And even then I got so used to using apostrophe because it was on a keyboard, I could just do that. And that's when we say, uh-oh. And we stop our breath between and oh, uh-oh. That's a glottal stop. Groban, nakit, either ends in an H or some sort of a glottal stop. That's how every word ends. There's never no difference. It either ends in an H sound or it ends in a glottal stop, you know, a vowel, a consonant glottal stop vowel, or even just a glottal stop. Again, it's a consonant. So it's a consonant. So if we look at some of these things, okay, now there also are some consonant blends that I think are very important. Okay, one of them that's very common is this one right here. Bia, bia, nahata, bia, bia. Another one is yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, when you make this sound, it goes to j in a man sound, okay? This one right here, but that one stays the same, j and j. Another one is in like no. Okay? Here's one that often gets confused. Okay? Is a th. It's not v, it's t. See, like if I go like here. T, meaning to want, okay? Those are some very common ones. I'm trying to think of if there's any more. I mean, I know there's a couple more, but those are really common ones that exist, that are consonant blends, okay? So remember how we talked with vowels, we have two vowel sounds coming together, a diphthong, you know, like EI making A or OU. Well, in consonants, we have a few like that too, okay? So that's an example of that. So if we take some of these, okay, for example, and here's another thing to remember. Not all vowels work with combinations of consonants. Like you would never use, you ever, new, we never say new and grow on. You see what I mean? But like if we take this, see for example, and I'm going to erase this part of it. Okay? So if we take some vowels and constants, for example, we would have this. What's that say? Ba. Okay? Ba. Ba. Okay? Now we go over here. What's this? Oh. Bya. Now what do we have? Bya. Okay? Here's one. We never have this. Bo. We never have bo. See, that's an example. We never use, but we use it here. Say it now. Yo. Yo. See, that exists. Okay? So we might have, for example, how about this one? Sa. How about this one? Say. How about this one? So. Saw. It's a corral. Saw. Buffalo pound. You know what a buffalo pound is? That's those things there where they make like a big, they would herd them and they'd run them into a corral, and then they could kill them at close range before they had a lot of horses, before, you know what I mean? So they might like make a pound under a buffalo jump so that when they fell off of there they couldn't run and they're all waiting there with spears and stuff. You know? Okay, so let's see, let's use another one. He. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Da. Do. Yeah. Okay, now, how about this one? Is this thing grow one? that sound is used. See, this is like in Arapaho, this is the same as this. Gi. They say T. See? Arapaho, usually when there's a K, a lot of times there's a T with I's. Okay? How about this one now? Woo. Is that a word in syllable in Goa? We? No? You ever hear it? I never did. Maybe it exists in some word, but I never have. Okay? So you kind of get the idea, right? So now let's think about this. Let's or how about this one then? They. So what? Weasel. Okay? How about this one? Does this exist? The? No, because sometimes everybody's telling you a G and T, sometimes it'll be a the when we use it. Okay? Alright, an S. Okay, let's see. Glottal stops. Let's talk about glottal stops. So we had this right here. What is it? Y'all. Okay? What if I went like this? Yo. Yo. See what I mean? How I stop it there? So how about this one? That means again. Okay? Okay? But it also can mean this too. That also can mean again. Say it. A. You see what I mean? Okay? More here.
Well, H kind of sometimes have a Y, right? Yeah.
What's yeah? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another one too. Yeah. Yep. So like on the end of a lot of animals, you'll have this. Yeah. Any kind of animate thing. Yeah. Or it'll be like yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's another one too. It's common. Usually with a glottal stop. Okay? So if I said this, say it. P, that means all or everything. Okay? Where, now, the P and the B, why isn't a P in there? There should be a P in this too. Also, there's a P as a letter. A P says, okay? Now, it's very rare. Usually it shows up there. We never say, pa. You know, it's usually P. I mean, that's where we use it at. And usually what it is it's, okay, there's a voiced and an unvoiced P and a B have a relationship. So your name is, what? Ba. See how he uses it? Listen to him.
Ba.
Yeah, so he's saying, Ba. Ba. See that? But a lot of people will say this. Ba. Here, you can hardly tell the difference. Ba. Ba. See, we kind of put our lips together like that. Where with the P, we don't. We go pa. We don't voice it. It's unvoiced. Follow me on that? Where B is a voiced letter. Pa is an unvoiced letter. Okay? That's just like any type of stuff. So, any questions on consonants? And syllables, those are what we're doing with syllables, okay? And so that's our basic system of writing, okay? And so there's some words, and over time as you learn, you'll realize that some letters just don't go with some vowels, okay? Just leave it at that, all right? Okay. These are some very common. Gya, gya, t, t, gya. This way too. It's another one. Okay? Ba, pa, ts, ch, or ch, g, or k, n, s, t, or t, wa, ya, is I guess up. Yeah. And it's kind of an unvoiced sound, but it exists. Okay? So those are consonants and vowels. One of the things as you begin to read stuff, and you begin to read stuff, and you're always like, Danny, you're always in the dictionary looking, okay? But one of the things is to break it down by syllables, okay? That's another thing to remember when you read, especially when you read another language, is to understand and what is the whole idea of a consonant? A consonant is to break up vowel sounds, basically, right? Okay? So if I did a simple word, and as you learn, words that you learn in the beginning, when I first started to learn when I first started learning, I took the words that I knew absolutely, I knew how to say. I knew how to say them, and I felt confident saying them, and I got into the dictionary and found them. And that helped me read and identify the vowel sounds. So we take hello for the male and hello for the female, okay? Okay? So how do we say it? Wahe. You see, because what? It's telling us to say it louder in the second syllable, you see? Wahe. Same thing with a woman. How would we say it? Naha. Naha. You see? Naha. And so that's an example, you see? How about a friend? How do you say friend? Yeah. Now let's say it with porosity. Niti. Niti. Oh hey, niti. Naha. Niti. You see? That's the stuff that I want you to understand. Why porosity, when you read it, is so important. Is because a lot of times we can't hear a lot of the words being spoken in our everyday, which is kind of too bad, but that's what exists. Okay? And so that's why I want you to really focus on the porosity. Okay? Ni ti, you see? Ni ti, or it'd be like, so we're saying, let's break it down. So with this word means the same thing as that. But I'm saying my friend that I have. Okay? So let's say it. If we look at this, we're saying ini. Done. Ini ti he done. Here, ini ti he done. You see what I mean? It's short and quick. You see what I mean? Now, as opposed to just saying ini ti he done. Now listen to it. Ini ti he done. Ini ti he done. You see? That's an example. You're saying this is another way to say my friend. Okay? So that's that. I mean, so remember our vowels. They're very important. They're very our consonants. Just so we have them. We've got to review these sometime. And so that's kind of where that's at right there. Okay? That should be good for that, all right?
Yeah, that should be good. You get it from there.
So, as you've been learning, because I know you sit back and you write stuff down and you're thinking about stuff all the time, Dana. What do you run into when you read it? What do you think? I mean, where are you? Do you get stuck on anything?
Essentially, trip up a little at first, and reading it. Might break it down like you said.
Yeah. One thing to remember too is with words. I mean, this is just my style. I'll read it backwards. I'll read it backwards.
Syllable-wise?
Syllable-wise, yeah. So let's take that same word. Let's take that same word I just did, because it's kind of a long word. Okay. Say it. Done. He done. He done. And this is when you want to concentrate on the syllables. He done.
T.
T-heat, done.
T-heat.
And then, so like, say I mess it up again, then I'll go back one syllable again. Done. Heat, done. T-heat, done. Knee, T-heat, done. You know, this should be just regular. You know? Knee, T-heat, done.
Done.
Heat.
Done.
T-heat. Done.
Knee, T, done.
Knee, T-heat, done. Knee, T-heat, done. Knee, T-heat, done. Okay? My friend. Knee, T-heat, done. Okay? My friend that I have. Okay? It'd be like saying, yeah, do you have a mother? Yeah, I have a mother. You see? See how we answer that in English? That's what we're saying. Yeah, I have a friend that I have. I have that friend. So I could use that in a sentence, for example, instead of saying need tea or your friend need tea. You see what I mean? I could say need tea. He done the bad dad. The friend that I have, he's dancing. You see what I mean? My friend that I have, he's my friend. He's my friend, and he's dancing. Okay. Okay. All right. Now. Where are we at? Good. All right. So, hitan. Hitan what? Ayo. 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 Needs. Ayo. Needs. Ayo. Hitan. Where? With a verb.
Dog.
Dog. Dog. Dog. When? Do. 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 Ooh. Do. Do. What kind of word is this?
Particle.
Particle word. What does a particle word mean, Bo?
Means it can stand all by itself.
It can stand all by itself. How would I use that in a grow-on sentence? This is semantics or pragmatics, how we use words. How might you use this word? Because I want you to think about this. Think about it in English when we use when. Okay? Okay? What?
Like if somebody was asking you something like that dramatically happened, and you would say when.
Yeah, when. Yeah, exactly. Like when. You see what I mean? And it doesn't have to be dramatic. It could just be, you just answer it all by your own. That's all you say because, see,
We go an hour?
when? You see? Because I already know he established our action. What is our action? To go, right? To go. And I'm saying when, because it's already implied. I don't have to say, well, I could say that. When are we going? But I don't have to because fast speech causes us to say it. So how about this one? How can I make that one? And let's think about this one. How can I make that into a particle word?
I'm not sure.
Okay, let's think about this now. Remember we were talking about last week, and now you weren't here, we were talking about preverbs. Remember? Aye, remember? Anaye, I taught you, remember that? Remember I said you can put it in front of something? In front of the verb, and what did you have to do? What was the phenomenon? Remember that? Even with this one, if I had to put it into a sentence, and now I want to include it into say, when are we going? Right?
Well,
What would I do with this one?
Drop
The two, how many of them? Two of them. So if I wanted to make this a preverb or a negative marker in a sentence, this is what it would have become. And this could be there and it couldn't be, depending on the type of, so I could either say do or do. Okay? So this isn't in the particle form, so that tells me it's in this form. So what am I going to do to this one? I want to go the other way now. And we went We went this way and shortened it. Now I want to go from the short and long end.
Ducky.
There you go. Ducky. Where? You see? See now that's only implying on an action. You see what I mean? Only on an action. You got to think about this now. Only on an action. And so Ray goes, yeah, he went to town, or yeah, he left. Okay, what's the action? To leave, right? And I say, Ducky, where? Oh, I said that in Baita. He left to Harvard. You see what I mean? Now, I'm wondering where Ray is. Now I use where. That's when I use this. Data. Now I want to know where something's located at. Or I want to know which one is that animate thing. So this is where, so this one means where is he? You know what I mean? I'm going to say, where is he? Okay? Follow me on that? Okay? So they're a little bit different there. So itas and hitan what? Ayo. Where? Gawk. When? And where is he? What other way could this mean?
Which?
Yes. Which one is he, right? Alright? Now this can be made plural too. You see what I mean? When it's plural, it becomes, say it. Da-dan, da-dan, da-dan. See, now I'm saying, where are they? Which one are they? You follow me on that? Now again, this has to do with, these both are animate, okay? Now we're going to do an inanimate, okay? Now we say, da what? Da do. Da do. Now I'm saying, where is it? Which one is it? And again, I can plural this one by adding what on the end? What do you think, Dana? Look at this one compared to this one. Dot dome.
You would just say that end.
Yeah, dot dome. Yeah, and you just say the N primarily. This is kind of silent, but it's there. Dot dome. Hear it. That's where Alan Taylor, the linguist, kind of got overboard. Went a little overboard, you know. And so a lot of times I don't even put that there, but it's there. Dot dome. Because when you read it, then everybody wants to say dot dome. You know what I mean? And it's not. It's dot dome. It's more as opposed to, see, they want to break this up, and where this is kind of the part of the syllable. This is one whole syllable. Dot dome. Okay? So again, that would be are they. Okay? A couple more here. Questions. Itas and hitan, why? Toots. Okay? Toots. Why? Okay? So now I want to make this into a negative question. Okay, what I mean by that is, okay, when we think about questions, they're in what order?
Non-affirmative.
Non-affirmative, right? Bo, can you identify the non-affirmative order? Basic? What goes first?
Question.
Okay, so the question goes first. And then what?
And the negative marker. Or the person marker.
Then the person marker, right? Then the negative marker, right? And then what? Now what else could go here though? What is the non-affirmative? It makes up what? Negative or, what is non-affirmative? It makes up negative or questions. So questions can also go here. Okay? Questions can actually go there. I don't know, okay? So then what comes after this? Verb. What can go before the verb stem even there, in between there? The preverb. Yeah, let's include that because that's part of what I want to show you. And then our verb stem. And there's even more stuff you can add in here, but for right now, let's just leave it here. And then what goes on the end here, if it's plural? Another what? Another person marker. Okay? So what I'm getting at here is, let's look at these words right here. Okay? How many of them so far that you know of go in this position? In these ones that we did right here.
Probably just toots it.
Toots it?
Or in the question?
Yeah, and the question part right here. Because Doc does, yes. Doc goes here. Now, one that I didn't put up there, right? One that I didn't put up there that we use all the time that means a yes or no answer. What is it? Aw. Aw is a question that requires a yes or no answer usually, right? Okay? So that also goes here. Now, remember I taught you another one? It was called a dubiative. Remember that one? But I'm not sure. I won't use aw. Oh, good. So oh can go here too. Oh. Okay? So that's an example of these questions. So that's another one right here. Oh. That's called a dubiative. I think that's how you spell it. I don't even know how to spell it. Dubiative, I think is what you call it. Okay? Dubative or something. I don't know what the heck you call it. Alright? But I know what it means. So we're going here now. Now we have other negative questions here too. So let's think about this. Now did I get everyone? Am I missing any? That you can think of on the top of your head?
Those ones on the top?
Yeah, is there any more? Can you think of anyone? Who? Who? Ah, who? How do we say who? Enna. Enna. Okay, that's a special one. So I'm going to put a little star here. That's a special one. And Ayo is a special one too. Now we're still missing another one. Think about this. Hitas and hitan. Das. Make it into a particle word. There you go. So we have das. Das. What does that mean? Das. How? But think about this. So it means how sometimes. Atasahit. What does atasahit mean? What's atasahit mean? Yeah. What is your name? You see what I mean? So it can mean what sometimes too. Okay? Okay? Das. So when we think about these ones, they're all particles, right? Das, do, toots. Hear them all? Now, I can shorten those all up and put them right here. So I can say, instead of do, I could say do. Instead of toots, I could say toots. Instead of das, I can say das, like that. Now that last vowel on the end can go away sometimes too. Okay? So that's an example of that. Now I can also take preverbs that are particle words also. Like anayas or tikyatni. You see what I mean? They're lengthened out to stand all by themselves, and I shorten them up to ayas or tikyatten. And they go right here. The same phenomenon works there in the preverbs. Okay?
That's always, right?
Yeah, always. So for example, let's do something. Let's use bedad, right? And we're gonna do it in a question, and then I'm gonna use tikyatten. Okay? Tikyatten. And the I is there because it's tikyatten, but it's kind of quiet. You know what I mean? So I might say, does he always dance? You see what I mean? So I might say ah, and then my negative marker is si, right? So I say tikyatten bedad. You see what I mean? Tikyatten bedad. Does he always dance? You see? That's an example. You see what I mean? Okay. Okay, so I might put, instead of sats, I say sats. And again, the I is kind of silent. And I might say, in a person marker, it do sats bedad. It do sats bedad. And what did I say? So, what's the person marker? It means who?
He or she.
He, what's do mean?
Where?
Do.
Oh, let's see.
Do.
When?
When? So I'm saying it do
Is he coming to dance?
sats bedad. There you go. When's he coming to dance? It do sats bedad. When's he coming to dance? Oh, niet sats bedad nog. Atten sats bedad nog. You see? He's coming to dance tomorrow. Eh? See how we did that? That's an example of how you use question. So questions actually are in two different places. Okay? Now there's special ones, like ayo. Now I can take ayo and put it here and say ayo e bedad. You know, what are you dancing? But we really don't do it that way. Okay? You know? Especially when we get into transitive verbs. When we get into transitive verbs and I say, what are you eating? Okay? I say, I use ayo, I use our person markers, but then from there I use a morphed form. I use a TA verb root, like what we were talking about today, and then I put a noun ending on it, so I possess it. So like for example, eat, okay? What was the transitive verb to eat one? Do you remember? Being. Gee, John, that's pretty good, man, to remember that. So for example, I would take ayo, and then I would take a, because I'm asking, what are you eating? And then my verb, and it's a TA verb because you're eating something, right? And then I put a noun ending on it that makes it possessive. So I'm saying, ayo be no. Ayo e be no. What is your eatings? You see what I mean? Because you're sitting, you know, see, so like for example, she's writing, yeah, what are you writing? Okay? That paper and pen she owns. So for example, if we were to, and where's those dictionaries? So for example, I can just tell you right now. So here's how you think about it. You think about the TI a lot of times, or the TA, but I think of the TI verbs. Okay? So I say, here's an example of a subtle word in robot, using that example. So what's that say right there? What done ha? What does what done ha mean? Paper. So what's this mean? What done ha?
Same thing, isn't it?
No? No? I put an exclamation mark there, so what does that tell you that it is?
Right?
Yeah, not just right, because this is right. That's right. What the nuts? What am I telling you to do? Look at the end of that word. What does that ending mean?
On your name, God?
Think about this. What's this mean, Bo?
It is red.
Bo, what does it mean?
It is red.
Yeah, bo, oh. What means it is?
Aw.
The all. So what's this mean?
Paper.
So what am I saying then? Write,
Paper.
write it. So I could say, for example, what done ha and sit it. What? Write your name. You see what I mean? That's what I mean. I want you to overthink it because you have to kind of overthink it to get to what we're talking about. Because this is, we're getting down. I'm going all the way over here to make you figure out this, so you can get down here to learn this. This is the stuff that I hate about Grove on, but I love it too. You know what I mean? It's because it's just a total different way of thinking. So if we think about this, this means to write something. So this is, what kind of verb is this?
It's T-I.
T-I, excellent. Because there's a subject acting on an inanimate object. Follow me on that? Okay, so if I take that off, okay, that verb stem, okay, find that verb stem, to write. You're digging in the dictionary right now, is that one? Okay, so we get to write. So I want to look for a TI verb, right? Write something, draw something, yep. Yep. So this goes, and actually there's a in between there. So what I'm going to do is say this. Now I change this. Okay? But what? Done. Nah. Right there. So now let's say, what are you writing? Ayo e what the naha. Ayo e what the naha. What are you writing? What is your writings? You see what I mean? Because I took that see that open O, I can't hardly see it, but it's there, it exists. So I say, Ayo e what the naha. Ayo e what the naha. Ayo e what the naha. What is his writings? What is he writing? You see? Yeah. See, oh man. This, oh man, this stuff is like, it's really good, but it's like working towards it, and I'm still, yeah, and I'm still learning a lot of this stuff too, because I just don't use it as much, but I'm glad that, you know, we have people here that are understanding this stuff.
I always gotta do like
This part, yeah, you got, this is your order.
Yeah.
And then this stuff, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is fundamental.
And even when you're answering it,
Yeah.
you're saying who's doing it.
Yeah.
The verb out there, you know what I mean?
So what we did is up there in between, see that open O, it's silent in that command, what done ha. Really it's what done not ha. You see what I mean? If we went really slow. But it fast speaks that but it comes back here. So what I'm gonna say is ayo a what you write something possessed. What is that thing that you're writing? You know, what are you writing? It's kind of a conceptual view of it. So I don't know, that's about 8 o'clock already, we've hit the time limit. But, you see what I mean there with the questions though? This is really important to understand. You see, you really got to understand your questions and how you put them together. You see? Because you can add more. You can add instrumental.